Hello, welcome again to Level Change channel. My name is Claudio Fonseca. I'm a real Boeing pilot, and today we are going to stress test the Pmdg on the new flight simulator sim update 15. So this is the first time I open my flight simulator after the sim update. I set it to Bucharest. So we are in Bucharest ground. We have a flight planned to Madrid, but once we are getting closer to the runway, I'm going to activate the maximum number of random failures on the 737 developed by Pmdg, and we are going to try to deal with those failures as the flight progresses. One thing that I'm going to show you, if I have a failure that requires the use of the QRH, is this page. So you are going to see the QRH on your right hand side, and I'm going to try to comply with all the procedures related to the failures. Have in mind that I'm going to be flying this airplane alone, so sometimes it can be really hard to read the QRH, also perform the steps and fly the airplane at the same time. Okay, so I'm going to give priority to fly the airplane first, navigate the airplane, also communicate with ATC if needed. We are going to fly it online on the aviation network. So if I have to talk to ATC, I'm going to talk to ATC. If I have to coordinate with the traffic around, I'm going to coordinate with the traffic around, and then I'm going to perform the procedure as we have. If it's really bad, if I don't have time to perform the checklist itself, because it's a catastrophic failure or something, I'm going to do it by memory. I will try to use my own judgment to deal with these malfunctions. Okay, so we have a flight. Let's go back to the sim. Let's go inside the airplane now, and I have a flight then once again from Bucharest to Madrid. Most probably are not going to reach Madrid with all the failures enabled, but one thing that I'm going to start so we don't lose time is our electrical power up. So battery is on, the alternate flaps at correct position, wipers, electric hydraulic pumps. We also have a flap green with the flap indication, landing gear down, so we can do the fire test. So let's see the fire test for the APU. We cancel this and we do the overheat first. It's back, so overheat first. Yes, it is there. Fire test. I don't hear anything, so just give me a moment so I can change my configuration here, and we are going to have the sound on the speakers. Oh, that's correct. I have it at the right place. I just need to turn my speakers on. So give me 1 second while I'm going to set on my mixer the flight simulator. Yep, now we do have our flight sim. So once again, we want to check also the audio. Yeah, it cancels. It's all fine. Yep. So now we can start our APU. APU to start. And we are going to wait until we have our APU. So for now, on our electronic flight bag, I'm going to request data from SimBrief. I'm going to change this to high IFR, and I don't want to lock the position, so I want to move it freely around, and I'm going to set for day. So as you can see here on our flight plan, that I'm going to even zoom in. Oh, that's the maximum that we can. Okay, so we have Bucharest to Madrid, 3 hours and 33 minutes. We have 10% contingency. Our alternate is Lima Echo Victor Charlie, and final reserve for 30 minutes is almost 1 ton. We should be, yep, APU is on, so we are taking the APU on bus and giving APU 1 fuel pump to supply the APU. Okay, so as we have this flight here, our takeoff weight, let's check here, is 66,421, around 66.5 tons, and our maximum landing weight is 66.3, so we are roughly 200 kilos above our maximum landing weight on the takeoff. So most probably, not most probably, we burn more than this for takeoff, so if something happens right after takeoff, we can even come back to land immediately in Bucharest. Okay, so all the flight is here. As you can see, we are going to be flying over Romania, East Europe. Eventually we reach Italy, the north part of Italy, south of France, and then we enter Spain, close to Barcelona. Okay, so that's our flight for today, and we are planning to climb initially flight level, if I'm not wrong, 37, and then later on, let's see again, so we are going to be climbing initially 36, sorry, and then 37 by position rotor. Okay, we have here also the meter for our departure. Where is departure? Departure here, 050 at 5, CAV OK, 20 degrees 1017. Madrid is also CAV OK, and there is no change apart from the wind. And Valencia, it's fuel 1200, and we have expected CAV OK. Later on is going to be broken clouds 1500, so weather all good around Europe, not a big deal for our flight. Okay, so once we finish the electrical power up, we can do the preliminary pre-flight. So let's start with engine oil quantity is fine, hydraulic quantity is also fine, but we don't have pressure for the brake, so we are going to turn pump B. Low pressure is gone, and we can turn it off again. So now we have pressure for our accumulator. Pressure is coming down as expected, and all the way up crew oxygen is there. Okay, so one more time here, IRS to nav, emergency exit lights armed, and what is the temperature now? 20 degrees is quite okay, but as we have APU running, I'm going to give air conditioning using APU bleed, so we can keep the airplane cool at this stage, ready for our passengers. As this is the first flight of the day, we test everything here on the top, including our one thing that I missed during the preliminary was to check the wheel well fire system. So we want to take this and check that wheel well light turns on, illuminated. Yes, it is. So we are good. Also, as we are here, we can do our cargo test. Yes, they all illuminate. Okay, so our preliminary is complete. The first officer goes out for the walk around, and we can start working on our FMC. So today we are going to fly from Lima Romeo Oscar Papa. Our inertial position will be set with the GPS, and our route is Lima Romeo Oscar Papa to Lima Echo Mike Delta. Flight is Alpha Echo Alpha 1986. And we are going to request the plan. One thing, let me see outside. One thing that I can do, I can request boarding. We are going to use Romanian airport services. So let's see how it works with GSX. Okay, so board was requested. Let's request flight plan from SimBrief. I want to select this route. And one thing that I'm going to request also from this side is, well, let's see if GSX is going to ask the fuel for us. So we can load the route. While the route is being loaded, we can get our chart. So for departure, airport, we need airport paint. This one with the parking stands. Yes, that's the one with parking stands. Briefing for departure. Let's think about any noise abatement departure procedure that we can have. Daylight is much better. I'm feeling this a little bit dark. Nothing that we can do now. So briefing 3, 1 Papa 8, 1 Papa 9 now, 1 Papa 10. Runway occupancy, they don't mention anything. General. Noise abatement, NADP 1. NADP 1. Okay, so we have NADP 1 for departure from here. We are expecting to take off runway 8 on Polun 1 kilo. Polun 1 kilo. Yes, that's the departure. And for arrival, Adusho 2 Delta runway 32 right. So on arrival, Adusho 2 Delta. Let's try to find Adusho 2 Delta. That's Adusho 2 Delta, runway 32 right, so approach. ILS on runway 32 right. ILS Zulu 32 right, makes sense. Also airport there. So for the airport we need airport chart. Parking stands, we go usually to this. I'm going to go to an international terminal anyway, so I'm going to set terminal 4 is the one that I'm familiar in real life. So we go to terminal 4. Yeah, good enough. And for departure, just in case we need to come back, ILS 8 right, the same one that we are departing. Okay, so we have the charts that we want. We can come back to our FMC, check the route. It's all here. Activate and execute. Can activate and execute. Okay, so departure. So far, runway 8 right. Poluk 1. We can execute an arrival in Madrid. ILS 32 right. Zulu 32 right. Adusho 2 Delta. and the transition for this ILS, let's take the pinned chart here. Transition for this ILS from the east side is Rubdi. We can execute, then we go to legs, we make sure we have everything there. Yep, so let's check for the departure first. On the SID, Balloon 1. We can zoom in a little bit. So we go 884 to 54,000 or above, 889 Urizo e Polun. To 54,000 or above on the 884, 89 Urizo Polun. Okay, we have our departure here. Lee Raccoon 83 says good morning, and also Victor Franciuli, 3 hours and 30 minutes here in São Paulo. Insomnia for our friend Victor. Obrigado, Victor, pela presença. Obrigado pela mensagem. So guys, we just checked our route. Now we can go to our performance initialization. I'm going to request the data from Pmdg as well. So payload, we have the correct payload, which is awesome. I just want to check the fuel. What is the... Marcos Espíndola, bom dia. Thank you, Marcos. Good morning. So our fuel, just to make sure, we need 12,000. 12,000. What do we have here? Sorry. I just want to set our fuel as 12,000. There we are. We can load the performance. Execute, and then we check our initial level 3.8. What our cruise page says, optimum is 3.8, so yes, we can maintain 3.8. So that is fine. And one limit we are going to check really soon. Last step is on the legs page, route data and wind request. Okay, so as we are waiting now, we do the pre-flight procedure. So I'm just checking all the systems, activating the systems that we need, like window heat. So most probably flight level 380 is what we want. Madrid altitude. So now we have the winds, loading the winds. Madrid altitude. Let's take it from the chart. Madrid altitude. Does it make sense in real life to set up your approach at the beginning, especially when doing long haul flights? Most of the time wind changes and you have another runway to land. Sly Raccoon, we do it on long haul flights based on the forecast, not based on the current one, okay? So there are two different things. Let me just set the altitude here for our landing. Madrid is 2,000 feet. So I finish the overhead and then we talk about this, and I'm going to show you. Okay, so this one goes to the right and we are all set. Then I go down. So let me show Sri Raccoon 83. So let's say that you are going to do this flight to Madrid. So you check here that you are going to land. So where are the times here? Our arrival time is 10:45. Okay, so once you go to your destination, okay, so this is destination now, Madrid. So it's showing that between 06 and 010 the wind is, there is a tempo for wind 040 at 6, which means runway 32, and from actually 09 is changing and the wind is going to be 250 at 6 from 11 Zulu is going to be 250 at 6. As we are arriving at 10:45, so it's the end of the tempo and the beginning of the standard wind that we are going to have from 11. So 250 at 6. If you go to the airport in Madrid, okay, if you go to the airport in Madrid, you are going to see that our options are runway 18 for landing and runway 32. So if we are landing north, we land on runways 32. If we are going south, we land on runways 18. In this case, there may be a runway change to runway 18, but with wind 250, most probably they are going to still use runway 32 to land because it's the preferred runway to land. So runway 32 and runway 18, they are roughly both 70 degrees off from the expected wind. So most probably they are going to keep runway 32 and take off runway 36. Okay, let's assume that we were doing a flight to Valencia. Okay, so let's assume that we go to Valencia, and let's take, I'm not going to see the current wind, let's see that we are going to land there. We are coming from China and we are going to land there at 15 Zulu. So let's check for Valencia what's the wind at 15 Zulu. So from 09 to 11 is changing to 090 at 10, and from 11 until it starts changing again at 19 is going to be then 090 at 10. So based on this wind, not the current one that says variable at 2, I'm going to expect something winds coming from the east. So I go to Valencia. I go to Valencia. Let's take the airport. Where is the airport? I never been to Valencia, so I have no clue. So I go to Valencia. I know the wind is coming from 090, so most probably it's going to be runway 12, and then I set for runway 12. Usually that's what a real world navigation provider does. Okay, so they take into consideration the wind for your arrival time. Okay, so the probability of runway changing is remote, even though we can be another runway in use right now. So even for long haul flights, we have the expected wind for arrival and we can do it. If it changes in flight, no problem, you go there and change, but at least you have all your route set, and you even can predict your estimate landing time more accurate, and also your fuel more accurate. Okay, so it's not necessary, okay, just to finish, it's not necessary for you to plan, especially on a long haul flight. On a short flight I will do it because it's going to save time anyway, but even for long haul flights I prefer to do it. Okay, it's not necessary, but that's the way my company works, so that's the way I think it's logically to work. Okay, so I was doing the pre-flight here when Victor Falusi, after the request performance, if we change the cruise level, we need to request performance again. No, because this performance here, Victor, let me finish my FMC, cruise wind uplink, we can execute, and then on the descent page, forecast, we can load this. What we are doing, requesting performance here, is we are setting this page, so the cost index doesn't change, the reserve doesn't change, and the zero fuel weight is going to come from your load sheet, so maybe you have to update later on. Also the cruise wind and the top of climb temperature, if you have a better, you can set. If you have a better number for this, you can set, but reserve and cost index, they are not going to change. They are based on your current flight plan. It doesn't matter if you change your flight level, you are still going to fly the same cost index, and the reserves for your flight is still the same. If you change your level and you have a better wind for that level and a better temperature for that level, you can change as well. So this right side here you can change, but what it comes on the left side, there is no need for you to change. Thiago Alvarenga, good morning. Is there any possibility that one day you make a simulator about loss of thrust on both engines? Have a nice flight. Yes, I can do it. We are planning, actually I'm planning to do it, but there are so many contents that sometimes we forget. I'm going to write here from Thiago Alvarenga. He wants loss of thrust on both engines. Another thing, this flight here we are going to activate, sorry I dropped my pen, here I'm back. So I'm going to activate random failures, okay? As I activate random failures, then I don't think that the Pmdg is going to give me a dual engine failure, but anything can happen, okay? So stay tuned that maybe it happens today. Does the Pmdg delete all the old waypoints automatically when you change your approach later, so I can set a new approach and load into the FMC to replace all the old data? It's going to replace everything. So let's say that we have this route now, okay? So I enter Adusho to Delta arrival, and the approach transition from Rudby to the ILS 32 right Zulu, okay? If I change only the ILS, it's going to change only the ILS. Everything starting from Rudby, sorry, okay? If I change my arrival and I don't change the ILS, it's going to change only the arrival. If I change both, it's going to change both. Let's say that I want to land on runway 18, okay? So I go departure, arrival. We are going to land in this case 18 left, Zulu, okay? And then I will set Adusho 7 Bravo, okay? And the transition from this side, I can even check here. On the legs page, the transition from this side is going to be Luller, okay? So I select Luller here and I execute. Then I go to the route. You're going to see that I have to make sure that after Givco I go to Adusho, which is the beginning of our route, and that's it. We have everything else here. So let's say I want to revert back to the previous one. ILS Zulu 32 right, Rudby transition, and Adusho to Delta, okay? I execute this, I go on the route, and I make sure after Givco I fly Adusho, okay? Just to make sure, you can go to your flight plan, and then you say that after Givco I fly direct to Adusho. So it's all there. So I change runway to runway 18. I even revert back to runway 32 in a matter of seconds. So it's not a big deal if you have to do it later on, okay? So we are going to stop here, and I'm going to finish my pre-flight. And here our altimeter is 1017. I want to see airports. Yes, and our departure is 078. So I'm going to set here 078 on the course, both sides. 078. I also want traffic on both sides, also airport on this side. Heading 078. And as we have no hard restriction, is 4,000 or above, initially most probably we are going to be climbing 380. So initial altitude here 380 is set. On this side, all set. Auto brake RTO. Engine, we make sure we have engine parameters correct. All set on this side as well. And the oxygen for the first officer is also set. Now we come down here. All set. Parking brake. is set all the way down. Do we have any VOR out of here as a reference? So Pmdg charts SID. I don't think that we are going to have an VOR on this one. It doesn't mention, so we can go to our en route charts. Where are the VORs? Pmdg map, that's not the one I want. Okay. I don't know why the high one is not showing the VORs anyway. So we have too much information here. I went to the cutter a little bit. So OPT, too complicated to take from here, man. This chart is not nice, so we are going to work with this one. Let me take stations. And what are the VORs that we have around? OPT. So index navi data OPT as an evade, and frequency is 117.10. So 117.10. We can go take it to the active 117.10. And if something goes wrong and we need to come back, we are going to come back on the ILS runway 8 right, which is 110.3. So 110.3, and 110.3 is pre-selected. Also, runway final approach course is 079. So instead of 078, the runway here is 079. I'm going to set and leave it ready on the 079. Okay, so our pre-flight is complete. Checklist itself. Pre-flight procedure, pre-flight checklist. Oxygen tested 100%, navigation transfers, way switches normal and auto, window heat on, pressurization mode selector auto, flight instruments, heading 169, altimeter 1017, parking brake is set, engine start levers cut off, pre-flight checklist is complete. And let me see if we have ATC online. No, only Unicom 122.8, so we can start our flight this way. Okay, so let me check. Boarding is complete, okay, which is fine. So now I can go to our performance calculation. Performance 2, I'm going to load from OFP, runway 8 right. Going to import everything from the airplane, rating optimum, PAX on, weather 090 at 6. As this is a headwind, I'm going to use the 090 at 0. Okay, so I don't have winds for this one. And we have takeoff, rating flaps 5 with assumed temperature of 52. Speeds 41, 42 and 46. Okay, so in this case, N1 limit, takeoff 26K, temperature once again 52. So 52 and the outside temperature is 20. We take off with flaps 5. CG is 5.7. Let me see a better camera for this one. 5.7, so it's almost 6. 5.73 is 5 3/4, almost 6 is there. And then the speeds they are 41, 42 and 46. They match here, so we can use this. And 146. Auto throttle 146, VNAV, LNAV, all set for our departure. Okay, so the last step is our briefing. We already talked about the departure itself. Just for the people that are coming in now, SID. We are going to depart basically straight ahead until we reach the point Oscar Papa 884. Then we turn right, is an RNAV SID. And it says... it doesn't say initial altitude. We contact Bucharest approach when passing 2000. Yep, all fine. Our taxi out of here. Actually, runway 8 left will be shorter for us, but as we have here, we are going to taxi via Lima, and then this one is Mike Bravo Alpha, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take the airport, the apron chart is a little bit better. So yeah, we taxi via, we are position 103, pushback facing the east. Then we taxi via Lima, Mike, Echo. This is a corner of Echo, Bravo, Alpha to the holding point, runway 8 right. Quite easy taxi out of here. I'm going to leave on the SID page in case we need any information for the SID. So this is our briefing, okay? How excited are you as a real 777 pilot for the announced Pmdg 777 in MSFS? Man, of course I really want to fly that airplane. I thought that we were going to have it by now. We are approaching the end of May. Let's see, maybe now in June, how it goes. I already updated the 777 guide about it. I just want it to be released so I can wrap up the last things like the ground service, because we don't know how the ground services are going to work on the new 777. So that's it. First day I have it in my hands, I'm going to do a short flight. I'm going to update these ground services. I'm going to release then the updated version of this guide for all of you, and then we can start flying and we can start talking about the 777. He says, Raccoon, he says he printed the whole manual for the 7.3. It's really helpful, excellent work. Thank you so much. We have the same thing for the 777, but I would say just wait to print out that one until we have the final version of the Pmdg, so I can deal with those things, especially related to the ground services or any change that they made on their product, okay? So it's also available. It's also on the Pmdg forums there, and I'm going to, of course, showcase the 777 guide as it comes. Okay, so we finished pretty much everything. Yeah, so the boarding is complete. One thing that I'm going to ask now, GSX, is to prepare for pushback and departure. And I'm going to do the before start. So fuel pumps, they go on, seat belts on, electric hydraulic pumps also to on, anti-collision light on. Last step is transponder on standby, is already there. And Bucharest traffic, Europa 1986, position 103 for pushback and start planning runway 8 right. There we go.
Departure checks completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Why the door is not closed? Still open. Okay, let's work on this. Let's close this door. Should be closed before they release the jetway, of course. Ground services also will checks removed. There we go. Come on, guys. Why is the door still open? Okay, now it says closing. Good enough.
Locking gear.
Okay, now we are pretty much ready to go. So don't forget, guys, close to the holding point we are going to activate the failures. Maximum 59 failures. That's the number of failures that we can insert on Pmdg. So it's 59 failures in 10 hours. This flight is going to be around 3.5 hours. So we are expecting hopefully 20 failures on this flight, or if it's something major that we have to land midway, so maybe we don't go that far. But let's see, up to 20 failures is what I'm expecting. So I want to nose to the left, tail to the right.
Release parking brakes, please.
Okay, let's release the parking brake. We press the brakes. Brakes released.
Push.
We are commencing push.
Start at will.
How to get used to the high difference between the 7.3 and the 777. Mainly in landing. In 3D I always had hard landings due to the feeling I'm high in the slope. Yeah, it can happen. I'm going to tell you something. In real life, the 777 is so easy to fly that this is not a big deal. Okay, but something that helps are the EGPWS calls. So around 50 feet, when you hear 50 feet on the 777, you reduce your rate of descent. You don't start your flare, but you already reduce the rate of descent, something that usually you don't do on the 7.3. Okay, so around 50 feet on the 777, you reduce your rate of descent. You're coming down around 800, 850, 750 feet per minute. So you reduce a little bit. That's going to bring it to around 600, 500. It's just something for you to feel how the nose is behaving. And then once you hear 30, that's the time you start the flare, like you were going to start on the 7.3. The only difference is that you know, because it's a big airplane, you need to know how the nose is feeling before you start your landing flare, and this reduction on the descent rate will help you with that controllability close to the ground. Also,
Please set parking brake.
okay, I'm going to set the parking brake, and I realized that I didn't do the before start checklist because I didn't turn on these pumps. So my mistake. I'm going to start the left engine and do the before start checklist together. So on the 777, you break this descent rate a little bit before you start the flare. It's going to help you with the hard landings for sure. Before start checklist as we take the fuel. So flight deck door is closed and locked. To fuel we have 11.9 thousand kilograms, pumps on, passenger signs on, windows locked, MCP V2146 heading 078 altitude 380, takeoff speeds V1141, V2142, V1141, VR142, V2146, steady pre-flight completed, rudder and aerodrome trim 3 and 0, taxi and takeoff briefing is completed, anti-collision light is on, before start checklist is complete. We can tell that we have 2 good engine starts to GSX.
You can disconnect. Unlocking gear.
Unlocking gear. Okay, now flaps 5. And the FO can take the generators on the bus. Backs to on. Isolation to auto. APU bleed off. APU off. Engine start switch to continuous. As a captain, I can do our light controls check. Rudder, full left, neutral, full right, neutral,
Tow truck disconnect.
recall.
Bypass pin removed.
We have a recall for anti-ice.
Left is clear. Right
I forgot about the probe heat. Yes, that's why we have the recall about anti-ice. So recall one more time is checked. So we can do before taxi checklist. For taxi checklist, generators on, probe heat on, anti-ice off. Isolation valve auto, engine start switch continuous, recall is checked. Auto brake RTO, engine start levers idle detent, bye bye. And flight controls check, ground equipment is clear right now. So we can take engine parameters out, taxi light on, release brakes, and here we go. I'm going to remove, I'm going to wait until I turn the figures on to remove my webcam, okay? So if I remove my webcam and you don't see me applying the figures, remember me please, but I'm going to link those two things together, okay? So let's say that the cabin is ready for our departure. We can take weather on this side, the terrain on the first officer side, and we are ready to go. So we can do before takeoff checklist. Flaps 5, green light. Stabilizer is almost 6 units complete. Before takeoff checklist complete. So we are going to taxi inside the apron. Bucharest traffic, Europa 1986, taxiing via the apron to runway 08 right. There we go. A little bit easier to control it on the ground on this new sim update 15. Any of you guys have an idea? I'm using tiller and rudder for the Pmdg configuration, so as we were taxiing slowly, not big issue so far. I'm not on the center, I'm to the left. Yeah. But this marking looks weird. That's not the taxiway yet. Taxiway is about to come here. There we go. On the 777 it's much more difficult to taxi on the simulator because your camera is quite, or at least my camera is quite narrow for this purpose, but that's what we have. And as we are not going to have the taxi camera, that's something that you guys and myself, I will have to train on the sim. There we go. Approach path looks clear, nobody around. Okay, as everything is clear, I'm going to set everything for departure, including our transponder. So we are ready to go. Next step is here. Menu. Better if I reduce my speed a little bit. Yep, so Pmdg setup, aircraft, pagers, all system, I have to come in options. Where is it again? Come on. Failures. Okay, let me stop here. I'm going to set parking brake. And we can activate these figures. Okay. No, it's not here. It's on options, simulation, service-based figures on. Random figures, yes. Event per 10 hours. If I try 60, it doesn't work. So maximum that we can have is 59. Limited event, no. I'm going to execute. I'm going to return. So now we have the figures activated. There we go. My camera is going off. Bucharest traffic, Europa 1986, lining up for takeoff, runway 08. There we go. So far, all set. Right is clear, left is clear. There we go. We line up runway 08, 40% N1. And Toga, N1 Toga. Thrust set. Checked.
Positive rate of climb.
Gear up. LNAV. VNAV speed. Autopilot. I forgot about the NADP 1. So I'm going to keep the speed until 3000 feet. My mistake. So we are going to have thrust reduction at 1500. It just happened. But we are going to accelerate only at 3000 feet above the airport elevation. That's why I use the speed intervention for this. I could have set it on the FMC. I forgot. Our altitude is 314. So 314 is gone. Speed intervention cancelled. And now we have our airplane accelerating. Remember guys, the figures are active. Going to take the yoke down. I don't want the yoke. So flaps 1. Transition, we set altimeters to standard. Flaps up. Flaps up, no light. After takeoff checklist, so we check packs, bleeds, engine start switch back to off. We don't need for anti-ice today. Landing gear up and off. Auto brake off. As we are climbing, we can do after takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds on. Packs auto. Landing gear up and off. Flap up, no light. After takeoff checklist complete. And there we go. So no issues so far. We are crossing position 884, well above 4,000 feet. Can start working on this. 40 miles is fine, as we have do we have terrain around here? I don't think so. I didn't brief that quite clearly, but our grid mora on this sector is 2,800 feet, so not a big deal so far. Terrain is not a big deal on this route until we are close to Italy. Italy, Switzerland, then we have to think about our strategy in case of decompression. So we are about to reach 10,000 feet. The airplane is going to accelerate to our climb speed of 290 knots today. 10,000 feet, accelerating 290. That is no turbulence, so seat belts, auto. Landing lights off, turn off lights off, taxi light off. And there we go. Keep always the heading bug centered. And there we go. So far, so good. No issues. Departing Bucharest. Maybe we even have failures already. Failures that we don't know. Failures that maybe we are going to discover later on. For example, if we have a tire failure, we don't know. We are going to figure out once we land. If we have a reverse failure, we are going to figure out once we land. If we have a gear or flap problem after we retract all of them after departure, we don't know. We are going to only have this issue when we start deploying them for approach. So having no annunciated failure so far, it doesn't mean that we do not have a failure. It means that we don't know about a failure so far. Our FO looks calm, so I don't think that he saw anything so far. And there we go. One thing that we are going to do once we get out of Bucharest is something that all the pilots, they do in real life. We are going to start looking for options in case something do not go as expected, okay? And as we do not have any NOTAM for the simulator itself, we are going to consider that the NOTAMs were checked for our route. We don't have anything major, so all ILS, they are available, all runways, they are available for our landing. We are going to check basically today weather. The 737, we do not have big issue with the runway length. So most of the airports that I know around here in Europe are the airports that I operate the 777 in real life. So they can accommodate the 737 in any case, especially now that we are already below our maximum landing weight of 66.3. So we already have 65.5. So we are already below maximum landing weight. So our landing weight is also not an issue for our flight today. The way to check the weather today for me, I'm going to use the tablet. So what we have now is Bucharest. As we go out on our route, Belgrade is an option, so I can type here Lima Yankee Bravo Echo. Wind is 280 at 3, 2 variable between 240 and 310. Visibility is more than 10 kilometers. Scattered clouds 4,000 feet, 17 degrees, 1019. So amazing weather in Belgrade. So we can use Belgrade. Then later on, Zagreb. On the Rio airplane, with all the briefing package here, I would check also our forecast, not only the current weather, but the weather is really nice on this area here now in Europe. Same for Zagreb, 230 at 5, more than 10, few clouds, 1018 degrees. After Zagreb, we can consider that we have Ljubljana. Yeah, maybe for a short period of time, Ljubljana is possible. 060 at 4, more than 10, few at 300. So I don't really like low clouds when we have figures. So Ljubljana only if it improves a little bit, but then really short ahead we have Venice. Venice, amazing weather, 250 at 3, more than 10, few clouds, 1500, scattered at 70. Then after Venice, we have here Milan. I'm very comfortable with Malpensa. Weather is also very good in Malpensa. Then we have Nice. Very good weather in Nice as well. A little bit cloudy, scattered at 1900, but not a big deal. After Nice, we have Barcelona. Then we are already in Spain. Barcelona, also amazing weather. And Zaragoza. Oops, I pressed the wrong button here. My mistake. I pressed the button to check for the... Sorry guys, I pressed the button to check for Zaragoza, Zulu Golf, and I actually extended the gear. My mistake. That's the problem when you have bindings on your keyboard. Zaragoza is also good, and we are expecting to reach Madrid, which so far says 360 at 4, variable between 320 and 050. Ceiling and visibility is okay, that's the meaning of Cav OK. 14 degrees, 1017. So that's our route basically. So Lima Yankee Bravo Echo is the next one. So something that I'm going to do, I'm going on the fixed page. Number 2, we departed from Bucharest, and our next airport is Lima Yankee Bravo Echo. I will create a circle of 200 miles, also, sorry, 100 miles, also 100 miles in Bucharest. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, maybe 150, a little bit better. So 150, we know that we are roughly, I would say, short of 30 minutes. 150 miles should be something like 20 minutes if we go fast. to 30 minutes if we go slow. Okay, after Belgrade, Zagreb, Lima, Delta, Zulu, Alpha. So on route to Lima, Delta, Zulu, Alpha. Also 150 miles. So if we look to our screen, we are going to see something like this. This is the area that we go to Bucharest. This is the area that we go to Belgrade. This is the area that we go to Zagreb. Okay, and in between, as we approaching one or other, we change between them. So after Zagreb, I'm going to use Venice, Lima, India, Papa Zulu, but we know that we have Ljubljana close by. Lima, India, Papa Zulu is the next one. Another 150 miles as a reference. And Lima, India, Mike, Charlie, which is Milan. Also 150 miles to have an idea. We are on the climb page now. So if we set a maximum, you are going to see that we have the arcs around all the airports that we are going to fly today. For a short flight like this, especially for me that I'm used to long-haul flights, I would check all the NOTAMs weather just before departure. As you can see, it's really easy to check the weather, especially when the weather is good. When the weather is not good, then you will pay more attention to it, but that will also already trigger you. Okay, so we have master caution, electrical, we cancel, and let's see what we have. We have drive and source off and gen off bus. So I'm going to start with the drive. Okay, that's the figure that we have. So electrical, drive, no normal, checklist. Let me change this to this screen and let's go together. I'm going to even pop up my webcam here. So the way to do it is to go to your non-normal checklists, then you go to your system, which is 6 electrical, and you have the checklist for drive. Okay, so drive, let me highlight here. That's the one that we are doing now. Condition: a generator drive malfunction occurs. So we have a generator, electrical generator problem. Action is irreversible. So what we are doing now cannot be changed in flight anymore. What they want us is the generator drive disconnect switch on the affected side, which is the right side, to confirm, and hold in disconnect position momentarily. Okay, this prevents generator drive damage. So that's what we are going to do. Okay, so we are coming here, generator drive disconnect switch, right, number 2, confirm is confirmed, and we press it down momentarily. Okay, so we just disconnect the generator. Now choose one. APU is available for start. Yes, so APU start. APU start. So we are starting the APU now. So far the airplane is working only with the left generator. Okay, so now we are starting the APU to give the airplane redundancy again. So the airplane started the normal flight with 2 generators, the generator on the engine number 1 and the generator on the engine number 2. The generator on the engine number 2 now is gone. Okay, the airplane can work fine, can fly fine with 1 generator, but if we lose this generator, we are going to have a big problem, because then we do not have alternate current energy anymore. We were going to be only on the battery. So as we don't want to have this kind of problem, we are starting a third generator, which usually we only use on the ground, which is the auxiliary power unit. Okay, so then we are going to have two generators again, and we can continue as a normal flight. So far there are a couple of considerations about the APU that we are going to look on it, and it says when APU is running, still no. Let's see when the APU is running. We are going to see here the blue light for the APU. So we are almost approaching 380. Okay, now APU gen off bus, so APU is running. APU generator switch affected side on. Look, only on the affected side. So the affected side is the right side, so we only take the APU on the right side. And then the source off is off. Source of light is off. What the checklist says? The checklist says that drive checklist is complete and we can continue our operation. Couple of things to consider. Now we have two generators again. We have a normal flight. Okay, so if we think about safety, the safety was not compromised. Anytime that we do a recall, electrical will be on because drive light is going to stay on for the entire flight. Okay, so it's very important that you cancel this, because if something else happens on the electrical system, another light pop up and then you are going to have master caution again. If you keep your master caution like this, maybe something else happened on the electrical system and you don't know because the airplane already told you about it. So make sure you reset your master caution always. Then another thing that we have to consider: do we have fuel for this flight? Because now we are going to use our APU for pretty much 3 hours. So we can come on our QRH, the same QRH that is on board. Performance in flight. And we are on the 200 with 26K SFP. And where is the text? The text is here. Maximum continuous. What else we have? Okay, it's not here. We want to know how much we burn on this 1000 to go on this APU. Okay, so it should be here. On the text phase. Okay, as this is not here, I will have to find in another manual how much we burn for the APU. So it's not on this one. One thing that I'm going to do, as we discuss, I'm going to open another manual. So let me open for you the FCOM Let me see if I'm able to find on the 737 FCOM. So we level F380, we keep flying, we are getting closer now to Belgrade. We know we are not going to go to Bucharest anymore. Now we continue to Belgrade, so Bucharest is not an option. We can delete Bucharest from here. We are getting closer to Belgrade. A380, we check for the fuel. It's important today for us to check for the fuel. I'm going to wait until we are at Dieter. Dieter is the first point that we have in flight, so we can check for this. So while I'm doing this, we would be calling the company. Okay, different ways to call the company. If you have a SATCOM, you can use a SATCOM. Okay, we will be coming here on menu, data link, and then calling the company like a phone call. If this is not available and you have any VHF company station around, you can set on VHF2. That was supposed to be on 121.5 anyway. So you set your company frequency, you talk to the company here. If that's not the case, you can always use HF with the company base and tell the company, look guys, we have a problem with our generator. We perform all the procedures. We have the APU running instead of the right generator, so we are fine for now. We are working on the fuel. Most probably we have enough fuel to complete this flight. The contingency fuel is enough to supply fuel for the APU. But if you have any advice, please let us know. And we also want to confirm that Madrid is a good point for this airplane, because once this airplane lands, it cannot depart without rectifying this generator. So we have to know if we have another generator in Madrid, if we have maintenance personnel that is going to be able to perform this maintenance there. Okay, let's assume that we have, so we don't stop our flight and we don't divert our flight because of this. So let's continue. Let's say Madrid is a good option for us. There is no need to inform passengers. Passengers do not know about this situation. Cabin crew do not know about this situation in most of the companies as well. So this is just a normal flight, especially if you continue towards your destination. Okay, I want to check here on our performance. Okay, so I'm going to check if we have the information for the APU here. Not on this section. 7.3 is a little bit different. Let me see if we do have another FCOM here. So performance in flight on the 800. It talks about takeoff speeds, it talks about VMC, flaps, slippery, unskid inoperative, thrust reverser, all engines, APU operation, engine inoperative. Okay, that is a table for engine inoperative. Let's see if we can find that. Okay, APU fuel burn. Let's think about. Okay, so let me take from here. Here, I found it, and I'm going to show to you as well. So it says here, APU operation during flight. For APU operation during flight, increase fuel flow according to the following table. This increment includes the APU fuel flow and the effect of increased drag from the APU door. What is this APU door? Let me show you. Let's go outside. Because now the APU is on. This door here. Maybe I'm going to need the drone. Yeah, with drone I can show you guys. This door here, this door is open. Okay, so this door is open. Usually this door is flushed with the airplane skin. Okay, so now it's open, so we have extra drag from this door as well. Okay, so this table that we are going to look at, it covers this as well. Okay, at least is what the procedure is saying. Okay, so we have to check at which altitude we are. We are at 38,000 feet, so between 39 and 35. If you notice, anything above 35,000, including 39, is going to burn 45 kilograms of fuel per hour. Okay, so having this in mind, we have 45 kilograms per hour. Okay, the APU on the 777, oh sorry, on the 73 is not a big deal. On the 777 it is. Okay, on the 777 it is. On the 73 is not a big deal. So we are going to check the fuel at the first point, and we want to make sure that we have so to land in Madrid with 2.5, which is the minimum fuel, we need to have at position DIRR 8.6 plus the fuel for our flight to burn for the APU. Okay, so we are almost at DIRR, 47 miles to DIRR. We'll be landing in Madrid at, I will actually do like this, progress on this page, cruise on this page. We'll be landing in Madrid at 10:43, okay, 10:43, and now is 7:43, okay, so basically we have 3 hours of flight. If we have 3 hours of flight, we are going to burn 45 kilos per hour. We are going to burn 45 times 3, which is 90, 135 kilos, okay, so basically we need by DIRR another 200 kilos. So let's say that we need minimum 8.8 tons of fuel over DIRR to continue our flight. Okay, so 8.8 is the minimum that we need. We are arriving at position DIRR at 49 and with 9.5. Okay, right now we have 9.6. We are going to burn a little bit more, not only 9.5, I think we are going to reach DIRR around 9.4, but it's much more than the 8.8 that we need. So from 8.8 to 9.4 is roughly 600 kilos. Okay, so we can think that if we need 1 ton for 30 minutes and we have 600 kilos extra, okay, basically we can say that we have roughly 15 minutes of fuel. Okay, so we have 15 minutes of contingency fuel, which also makes sense if you count that we start the flight with 21 minutes with 847, so let's say 850 kilos of fuel for 21 minutes. If we have 600 now, this is going to go down to around 15 minutes. So not only we have flight to continue, the fuel to continue towards Madrid, complete our flight, go around in Madrid, alternate to Valencia, and another 15 minutes of flight time. That does 15 minutes we can't use in Madrid for holding, we can use en route for deviation, we can use holding in the alternate if we decided to go to the alternate. So basically now we have 15 minutes. Okay, so this reserve fuel, so we need 2.5 to go to Valencia, right? Okay, but this 2.5 is for sorry, we need 1.5 to go to Valencia plus 1 ton for final reserve. Okay, and this flight is around 38 minutes to Valencia. As we burn 45 kilos per hour, we are going to burn 40 kilos to go to Valencia. So I can include another 40 kilos on this math here. So let's say initially was 1496 plus 997, which is 2493. If I include now another 40 kilos, it will be 2533 kilos. So basically we need now 2.6 on our reserve. So I can come here, index performance, and take 2.6 as reserve. So this will cover my APU burn to my alternate as well. Okay, something that we are considering, so we are extremely safe to continue the flight as it is now. Okay, we are getting closer to position Dieter, and we know 8.8 is minimum. Right now it's showing 9.5, and as I told you, we were going to cross Dieter around 9.4. So these 600 kilos or 15 minutes is what we are expecting. So we are good to continue this flight based on the figures that we have so far. Okay, I hope you guys are enjoying this this flight. I hope you understood what happened to the airplane. First, we lose one of the two generators that we had working at that time, from engine number 1 and from engine number 2. Once we lost that generator, we follow the checklist to physically disconnect this generator from the engine so we don't damage this generator. And now, as we only had one generator left and the APU is working, we turn on the APU to have a backup for our electrical system. So once again, we have two generators working on the airplane. Okay, so we finished the checklist. The airplane recovered fine. We talked to the company, we let them know, we discussed about rectifying this problem after landing. Madrid is a good option, a good base for us to do it, and we also consider the fuel burn for this APU in flight. As you can see on the 737, it's not a big deal, especially if you are high. 45 kilos per hour is not something that is going to change your flight and your calculations a lot. But on the 777, this number can be much higher, up to 250 kilos per hour. So if you are doing 6 hours flight, this means 1.5 ton of fuel, of course, in low levels. So that you have to check based on the 777, based on the 777 table. Okay, we have a table just like that you have to check. I can even show that for you. So let me figure out where I can find this table on the 777. All engines, then engine out. Okay, so I'm going to show you the same table for the 777. Okay, so in case it was the 777, note that if you are flying at with 300 tons at 5,000 feet, you are going to burn 270 kilos of fuel per hour. Okay, of course, usually you don't do long haul flights at this altitude, but if you start quite low initially with 300 tons and flight level 310, you are going to burn 230 kilos per hour, and then once later on you climb to 350, you're going to burn 200 kilos per hour. If you take this on a 10 hours flight, this means around at least 2 tons extra. Okay, and sometimes you don't have these 2 tons of fuel. Okay, that's something to consider, especially on the 777. As you notice, for the 73 is not a big deal, but I would keep that in mind anyway, because that is going to change your fuel on your navigation as well. So you will notice that every other point you will be losing 10 kilos, another 10 kilos, another 10 kilos on the 73, and on the end of this flight we were going to burn something like 150 kilos more. It's something for you to consider. It's not a big deal, but your savings on the fuel per point are going to drop as you go along. And if you ever fly a bigger airplane later on in your career, even on the sim or in real life, you will have this in mind, that you have to consider the fuel burn for the APU. I have to confess that on the 7.3 we were not really worried about this fuel consumption for the APU. It only caught my attention when I came to the 777, and then I realized that sometimes the APU can burn a lot of fuel. Okay, so that's why we have those tables in our manual, so we can check the tables. Of course, if you don't find the table, if you don't have the table in real life, you always have the option to call the company and even to confirm with the company that what you have is correct, that what you are doing is correct, and even calling the company and asking them for a new flight plan that is going to include the APU fuel burn. Okay, the company have the option to do it. They can run application close to SimBrief, and they can add there, okay, I'm doing this flight from this point, not from the departure, from this point. They can take any point in space. I have this weight, I'm at this altitude, and I have my APU on, so how is my fuel burn all the way along my route to my destination, or any other alternate that the company chooses from. So nowadays, with this automated software and computers, is quite easy to do. We have traffic 1,000 feet below coming up. Let's see if we can identify him outside. Maybe this one is a little bit better, so I can move around. If I was going to be inside the cockpit, he's on my right side, I would be on the FO side here. 1,000 below, looking this direction. Where is the traffic? One more time. Now he's getting closer to my right side. Right on my right side, and was not able to see. I was not able to see. At night with the light is much easier, but basically traffic is not a factor anymore. It's already below us, or behind us and below, going south. So we are really close to Belgrade now. Belgrade is to our left side. So Belgrade is down here. Good weather to go to Belgrade. as we already discussed. Not a big deal. So far, it's okay. The only issue still our electrical drive, FO very calm. Fuel is okay. We are arriving with 4 tons. Our minimum now is 2.6. We recalculate to 2.6 due to the fuel that we are going to burn. Go into the alternate because our APU is on, so we calculate the APU fuel burn for our flight itself and for our alternate in case we need to go to the alternate as well. So I'm going to continue here as we had my last fix was Milan. After Milan we have Nice. Mike November, not November, Mike November. Okay, we have another issue here. Lima, Foxtrot, Mike, November. I'm pretty sure we are not going to reach that far because now we had an engine problem. How I know? Because this pop up. And what is the problem? Oil pressure is okay, temperature is okay. Oil quantity. Oil quantity is getting low on the right engine. Okay, so we do not have a checklist for oil quantity. We have to check other parameters as well. I'm going to take the QRH one more time and I'm going to show you that we do not have no normal checklist for engine and low oil quantity. Okay, you see engine we have for high oil temperature and low oil pressure. Okay, so pressure and temperature we do not have for quantity. So far we don't do anything. Okay, but let's check here how this engine is. Okay, so quantity is dropping, fuel flow is almost the same, pressure is almost the same. Traffic. Okay, now we have traffic as well. We cannot collide with the traffic. 1,000 feet ahead. There we go. We can see the traffic, so it's going to go. Not a big deal. Okay, so again, the traffic is coming. We will talk to ATC. To ask about this traffic. But it's on our right side, not a big deal again. Okay, so the problem is the quantity. The quantity is going down on the right engine. Okay, oil pressure still okay. Temperature still okay, and vibration still okay. So based on this, we can think about 2 scenarios. First scenario is that the low oil quantity is an indication problem and the engine is running normally. So far is running normally. The other scenario is that we are losing oil. We are getting low on oil and eventually the pressure will drop, the temperature may rise, and then we have a problem. So we are going to keep an eye on this engine so far as the pressure and temperature, they are good. At this stage, I would call the company. Interesting to know that some companies, they have and such a good engine monitoring system. Okay, TCAS, and we have to climb. So autopilot off, auto throttle off, and we climb to avoid this traffic. I know it's low, but I'm getting out of the traffic. Okay.
Adjust vertical speed. Adjust.
Yes, I'm going to go back. Maximum thrust, and we still have a little bit of airspeed to play until we get out of this traffic. Okay, we are not going to fall from the sky. Okay, now we are clear of conflict. Okay, we can go back. I'm going to use level change. I'm going to re-engage autopilot. I'm going to re-engage auto throttle as we are going down to 3.8, and I can even use my VNAV again. Okay, so we deal with the traffic. Traffic is gone. So as I was telling you guys, we do have some companies that have a really good engine monitoring system, and with this engine monitoring system, maybe they have more data and more details than the pilots, because they know all the history of this engine, all the history of this airplane, and they can let us know, we really think that you are losing oil, you are going to eventually run out of oil, so we want you to land right now, or we want you to continue in this case maybe towards Venice, or go back to Romania, to Bucharest, or so you get the idea. It depends how bad is this engine affected. If you think you can continue the flight, like I think I can continue this flight at this stage, they can advise you to stop somewhere or to go back, depending on the information that they have. Okay, those engines, they were certified to operate up to a certain extent of time without oil. Okay, so losing oil quantity, or using the engine oil, it's a problem. It can become a big problem, but maybe it's something that the engine can deal with it without hassle. Okay, that's why you don't have oil quantity checklist. Okay, but as we may have other problems, I'm going to read, as I'm a pilot that try to think ahead, I'm going to read engine high oil temperature. So if the engine oil temperature is high, if it's above the red line, we have to shut down this engine. If it's in the amber, we can disengage the auto throttle and retard until it's within normal operating range. Okay. If it stays in the amber for 45 minutes or less, we can run this engine at like this. If it's more than 45 minutes, then we have to shut down this engine, even if it's in the amber band. Okay, so if we have high oil temperature, there's a high chance that we are going to shut down this engine. And if we have engine low oil pressure, it also says it was not on takeoff. It says oil pressure is at or below the red line, so we have to shut down the engine as well. Okay, so if the oil temperature goes up or if the oil pressure goes down, both of them we have to shut down this engine. Okay, I'm going to continue the flight like this, and in this case I would keep the engine parameters here. It's a good idea for this flight to keep. In real life it's very easy to monitor the lower screen. As I'm flying alone, I'm going to keep this on the lower one, so I can monitor my oil pressure and my oil temperature for now. Okay, so this is the second step. As you can see, low oil quantity is not a big issue, and you should not take any action based only in the oil quantity. Okay, of course, if it's if there is something else, okay, you have the low oil quantity and you have high vibration, and you have or you have something related to the oil pressure, temperature, or you have an erroneous N2 or N1, then you think about it. Even the vibration, I will check engine vibration high engine vibration. Okay, I'm going to show you as well. If we have if this develops to a high engine vibration, we do not have icing conditions today. Yeah, so it's all clear, so that's not the case. So we are not considering icing conditions. So no icing conditions. Then we'll go to step 6 that says engine start, switch affected engine, we take it to flight. No, sorry, no icing conditions, we go to step 6, not step 2. So step 6 is auto throttle, if engage, we disengage, and we are also reduce the engine until it's below 4 units or the level it's closed. If vibration indication does not decrease when thrust level is retarded, check other engine indications on affected engine. If other engine indications are normal, run the engine at reduced thrust. Okay, so in case today, if we have a vibration, it's very rare that we have an vibration indication problem, oil quantity indication problem, and most probably in case of vibration we are going to feel the vibration itself. Okay, so in this case, if we have vibration, if we have oil temperature or high oil temperature or low oil pressure combined with this low oil quantity, we are going to shut down the engine, as you just notice in the QRH. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Oil quantity for me looks like it's not an indication problem, because it's still going down little by little, and I think if I know Pmdg, as we reach 0 here, we are going to have other engine problems. Okay, basically this was the time to work on this engine, really talk to the company and decide where to put this airplane. Okay, we are getting closer to Zagreb. Okay, so fix, we don't go to Belgrade anymore, we are getting closer to Zagreb. Okay, by the way, then I can come here, Lima Delta Zulu Alpha, check current weather, 200 at 3, more than 10, fuel 1019, which is quite good. If we need to go to Zagreb, then we are going to shoot ILS Zulu or Yankee runway 22. Let's see which one. This is Zulu, this is good for us. So most probably we are going to deal with this from Rerna. We can go Rerna and even perform holdings there if we want to. Okay, Rerna. Just in case, I'm going to set here on the fixed page Rerna. Okay, this is Rerna. If something goes wrong, we are going to tell ATC that we want to go to Rerna for the ILS in Zagreb. If we have to. Guys, you are very, very quiet on this live chat. Are you following the procedures? Do you have any doubts? Anything I did not mention so far you want to know? Anything that doesn't make sense? I know that at this time we don't have many people watching, especially for my followers in Brazil. It's a weird time. We are talking in Brazil about 5:10 in the morning, but for people in Europe it's a nice time. So I'm here. Let me know if you think that is something that we can consider for this live stream, as we reach no engine oil quantity, but the pressure and temperature, they are okay, vibration is okay, so I assume that this engine is quite fine. Oh, now we have these contrails. But still okay. Vibration is increasing now, as you can see, 0.9. Zagreb, frequency 109.1, final approach course 223. 109.1 on standby. I'm going to even select this and final approach course 223. Meu xará, Fonseca tá aí. Obrigado, Márcio. Thank you so much. I know you guys are here. I just want to tell you that if something is happening and you don't understand, please let me know. Just learning from Portugal. Amazing. Thank you so much, Márcio. Yeah, we are not going to reach Portugal. We are landing in Madrid if everything goes right, but I don't think so. I think we are going to even land short of Spain at some point. Just in case we have to go to Zagreb. Altitude elevation there is 3053. We have a standard ILS approach with minimums of 548. And the runway itself, it is 3,252 meters long. There's no displaced threshold, so it's an amazing runway for us. Most probably in this case, as we do not have a planned flight here, we would vacate, even going to the general aviation apron or the cargo apron around here. It's very rare that we go to the passenger terminal, but maybe even passenger terminal, it depends on our figure. So we vacate most probably left via Charlie or Bravo, then Foxtrot, go via hotel to Mike Charlie. Okay, there we go. Fire warning, and we have aft cargo fire. So this is not memory items. We can go to non-normal checklist, fire protection, and we can go to cargo fire. So cargo fire states fire detected in the related cargo compartment. Cargo firearm switch affected compartment. Confirm, push, verify armed. So we come here, aft confirm, we push, and then we verify that the armed is written there. Cargo fire discharge switch, push and hold for 1 second. This is the discharge switch here, push and hold for 1 second. Discharge light may need up to 30 seconds to illuminate. Okay, let's see if it's working. So we can take the chronometer. Let's say if we have the discharge light in up to 30 seconds. By the way, at this time, I would call ATC and say, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. Air Europa 1986, cargo, fire, request vectors to divert to Zagreb. Okay, you are going to notice really soon what's going to happen. You see, discharge, and we do not have the fire indication anymore. Okay, so at this stage, we will be talking to ATC to change our flight to Zagreb. Lima Delta Zulu Alpha. Okay, destination is Zagreb. We can execute. Departure and arrival. We are going on the ILS, not Yankee, ILS Zulu from Rerna. Okay, and we can go and fly direct to Rerna. We execute and we are turning to Rerna. We are quite high. Okay, so Rerna is a good point for us. I'm going to go on the descent here, and I'm going to change my airspeed to 300 knots. On the descent. And there is no restriction below 10,000. We are in an emergency. Okay, so the airplane is going to go down. And altitude, let's say ATC cleared us initially to 10,000 feet. Okay, so 10,000 feet. And I'm going to do a speed intervention. So let's go 10,000 feet initially. While I go to 10,000 feet, I'm going to continue the checklist. Choose one. We are on the ground. No, we are in flight. So we go to step 5. Step 5. Recirculation fan switches both to off. This is the airplane. So we go all the way up here and we take the recirculation fan switches both to off. Okay. Then pack switches both to high. Pack switches both to high. Next step, plan to land at a nearest suitable airport. As I told you, I was already going to Zagreb because I know that any checklist that is related to fire, okay, we land at the nearest suitable airport. Okay, there is no other option. And then checklist complete except deferred items. And then we have the deferred items for the descent. Okay, I'm going to go back to this checklist in a while. Okay, but what I need now, I need just to make sure I can land there. Okay, so landing en route. We are going to Lima Delta Zulu Alpha. Runway 22. I'm going to land with flaps 30. Import details from the airplane. I can even go brake 3 is more than enough. VREF +5. And import weather. If I calculate, you see that I stop in middle of the runway. Because we are heavy, I'm going to even use auto brake 2. Auto brake 3. Full reverse. We stop on the runway. And then we talk to ATC to make sure there is no visible... okay. So now our oil temperature is going up as well. So engines, high oil temperature. Okay, it's not above the red line, it's in the amber band. Auto throttle is already in idle and this is still going up. Okay, if it goes to the amber, we go to the shutdown checklist. Okay, so right now on my FMC here, I'm going to enter a hold over Rerna, and I'm going to include this hold. Now it's on the red. Okay, now it's on the red. We have to shut down the engine. Okay, so auto throttle if engaged, we disengage, thrust lever affected engine. We confirm it is closed. I can do even on both. I don't need thrust for this. When the affected engine is at idle, engine start lever affect engine confirm is the right one, is confirm, cut off. And then pack switch on the affected side, we need to take it off. Okay, pack switch on this side, we need to take it off. One thing that our approach Zulu runway 22, our inbound course is 223, so for the hold I will say 223 slash 223 is the inbound course. Okay, minimum altitude is 4,000 feet, so ATC clear us all the way down to 4,000 feet, and I'm going to change this airspeed to 300 knots because I want to continue the descent. Okay, so level change 300 knots and we are going down. So pack switch was taken to off, and then APU is already started. We balance fuel as needed. We still have fuel on the center tank. Okay, we still have fuel on the center tank. Transponder mode selector, we take it to TARA. Isolation valve, we verify auto. This ensures wing anti-ice for both wings. We are. Restart may be attempt. There is no, because we do not want to restart. We shut down because of the low oil quantity and high oil temperature. We plan to land in a suitable airport. We are doing, and we go to one engine operative landing checklist. So now I have to plan a flaps 15 landing because of the engine inoperative. Okay, so for the flaps, it's going to be the same procedure, but in this case, landing. We are going to take one engine inoperative, flaps 15, and we calculate 158, so one brake is inoperative. Packs I will consider on, anti-ice off, one engine operative, flaps 15, and this flaps 15. Okay, it's showing that we land in 1 kilometer, but this is for maximum auto, okay? It doesn't change, it always calculates in maximum auto, so I'm going to keep auto brake 3 for this approach. It's more than enough, and we are going to land with flaps 15. Okay? Flaps 15 is more than enough. Okay, so we plan a flaps 15 landing, there is no ice, we check no normal configuration, anti-ice is needed, is not needed. So what we have to do, everything is set now. Minimus for this approach is 5, 5, 5, 5, 4, 8. 5, 4, 8. I'm going to set here. So 5, 4, 8. Altimeters now is 1018. Is set on this descent as well. I'm going to extend my speed brake to help to go down, that we are almost ready. And we can do descent checklist pressurization. We are landing now at 350 feet. So we have to change this. 350 feet. Cabin crew, prepare for landing. I forgot about PA to the passengers. Only the right engine is working, so I would do it now. In real life, it's much easier to remember the passenger because they are with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the captain speaking. We have a technical malfunction with our airplane, and due to company policy, we are going to do a precautionary landing in Zagreb. I give you more information once we are on the ground about the continuation of this flight. Thank you so much. Cabin crew, prepare for landing. So, recall, we have electrical, the one that we know about the drive. We have one engine failure, and we also have the problem with the cargo fire, okay? So auto brake is 3, landing data VREF 3153, minimum SBARO 548, approach briefing is completed, we don't need go around thrust, no engine bleed landing is not the case, we go around with flaps 1, that's the procedure, and approach checklist is the altimeters. We can do the approach checklist, altimeter 1018, approach checklist complete. Additional deferred item. We need to take flap inhibit to on because of the flaps 15. And landing engine start switch only on the operating engine to armed. Speed brake, to continue, speed brake armed, landing gear down, and flaps 15. And the other one was the cargo fire. So for the cargo fire, we have the same steps for landing altitude, pressurization, recall checked, auto brake, 3, landing data VREF 15, 148, minimums 548, approach briefing is completed, altimeter is complete. We inform ground personnel not to open any cargo door after landing until all passengers and crew have exited the airplane and firefighting equipment is nearby. Engine start switches, the only difference is for the single engine start switch continues only on the operating engine. So engine one more time. So how do I go to engine operative landing? Yeah, so the only thing that we are missing here is the flap and landing gear, as we are a little bit high and we need to start now reducing our airspeed for landing. Okay, I can even take my speed brake out, hold, exit, hold, and execute. Good morning, Captain. This is amazing to watch. I own Pmdg 737 and never ever practice the figures. I might have it a go this week. Thank you so much for your message, Bella. Yeah, let's try, guys. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. I have to configure this airplane, so what I'm going to do, I'm already low enough, even though I'm fast for this approach. So I'm going to keep this airspeed until I reach 4,000 feet. Then I slow down, I extend my flaps to 15 and the gear down, and we are ready to go. I already select my engine start switch to continuous. Everything is set. FMC says drag required after Rerna. Okay, that's fine. This one on the legs, this one on the descent. Good enough. As you can see, descending with 3,000 is quite easy. The exit is armed, so we are good to continue. We went quite far because of the speed that we decided, but the speed was also to bring us down, so we could complete the entire checklist. I'm going back to our standard camera here. And the final is 223. We are already aligned with the final. Terrain on the first officer side. We are reaching 4,000. We can start reducing our airspeed now. Remember, single engine, there is no auto throttle, so we have to use thrust manually. I'm going to take my webcam out so you can follow this standard single engine procedure. So we are waiting for the ILS just to make sure frequency is 109.1. We have 109.1 on both sides. We still do not have ILS indications. Next altitude is 3,500. I'm going to maintain 3,500 here. In case we need, we go on the VNAV procedure, and then our minimum is 730. Let's consider 800 feet if you have to go on VNAV approach. We are looking for India Zulu Golf. So far, India Zulu Golf. Now we have localizer is there. We still do not have the glide slope, so I can already set my localizer. Localizer is captured. Waiting for the glide slope to start coming. Our speed is adjusting quite fine. We are reaching flaps up speed by the initial approach fix. Now glide slope is there, correct sensing, we can arm our approach mode. And in case of missed approach, we go straight ahead. Track 223 to intercept and follow 227 to Papa India Sierra NDB. To 3000 and hold. Okay, so the missed approach is going to be 3000. So now that we are approaching, we are still far away from the runway. I'm going to add some thrust now. This is just to keep us on the flap up speed. Remember, single engine, you have to control your speed manually, auto throttle is off. In a normal day, I would be configuring this airplane from now on, but we are still 15 miles to the runway. It's not a big deal. And another thing is we had that fire issue. We are also single engine. We are also with a drive problem on the right engine. So the right engine was a mess today. Little bit of thrust so we can maintain. So I know because we only have to configure to flap 15, I can wait a little bit more to configure, and this is because I want to get as closer to the airport as faster as I can, so I can complete this approach and land and talk to the fire brigade about our cargo fire as well. Glide slope disappeared. Yes, you are right. Thank you so much. Because I select another altitude. So one more time. Localizer, glide slope armed. Thank you so much, Bella. So Bella was my first officer for today. He saved the day. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. So now we can extend flaps 1. Reduce to flap 1 speed. So thrust lever to idle so the airplane can reduce. Glide slope capture, missed approach is 3000. We can select flaps 5. Reduce to flaps 5 speed. And the airplane is going to go down on this glide slope with flaps 5. This was supposed to be off. The problem that I had is selecting the landing gear to down during that checking the meter for Zaragoza, where I press G. Okay, so my autopilot is off. That was not supposed to happen, but I continue flying manually. Again, master caution engine is because we need we lost the other one. Now I'm taking the APU on the bus. And I'm going to engage autopilot one more time. Approach mode. Localizer and glide slope, yes, is there, corrected. That's the problem, we lost the other generator. So now we have only the APU. So another call for a Mayday because of the single electrical source. Nothing else that we can do.
2500.
Nothing else that we can do so far. So let's configure this airplane for landing. Landing gear down. Flaps 15. Speed reduced to VRF plus 5, but we have to maintain the speed control manually. So landing checklist from the deferred item. Engine start switch on the operating engine is continue. Speed brake. Speed brake is armed. Landing gear down. And flaps 15 green light. Landing checklist is complete. I'm going to adjust the camera for my landing here. Just like this. That's the outer marker. So adding some thrust now for this approach. We are quite heavy, still 63 tons, 3 tons below maximum landing weight, but for the 737 this is quite a lot, especially when you land with flaps 15. Elísio Alves, bom dia Fonseca, good morning, thank you Elísio. So guys, 1000 we are stable, I'm going to disengage autopilot. That's it. So remember guys, we had a drive generator problem on the right side. Then we have engine low oil quantity. Then we had
300.
let me perform this landing here and we talk about it on the ground.
Minimums.
Continue.
100. Sink rate.
Correcting.
30. 20.
Okay, here we can ignore this please. What a time to have this message, huh? So full reverses on the left engine. No reverse, engine right, speed brake up. Manual brakes, 60 knots. Engine is back to idle. So I will bring the airplane until the next intersection here, so it's easier for the fire brigade to get close. So yeah, idle, and we are going there. So I'm going to stop just before this intersection with taxiway Alpha here. So this is a good space, good place for the fire brigade to come to the airplane. Okay, so we have plenty of space here, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to set the parking brake. I'm going to retract my speed brake, and we are going to talk to... We had another problem on the hydraulic, master caution. We also have hydraulic low pressure on the engine number 2. Not a big deal for now. Okay, so now we were going to talk to the ground crew about fire brigade or with the tower. So we can call Zagreb Tower. Do you see any smoke coming from our aft cargo compartment? Most probably they are going to say no smoke. Let's check outside. Fire brigade is around. Okay, they can even approach the airplane to the right side. The right engine is already shut down, so I don't see anything on the left side. So basic on the right side. So basically I think the fire is out. Because we do have a fire indication, we are going to request for a remote parking. I think remote parking is better, give us more space, and we are away from the airport. Okay. Marcio Fonseca, the lesson on this live: don't be in panic, just follow the procedure. Yeah, all the procedures they are here. Don't worry. One more time. So now we can ask for taxi. Okay. Before we taxi, we can configure actually this airplane for the taxi. So only one light stays on. This one can go also to nav. We don't need probe heat anymore. Engine bleed is still working on the left side at least. Auto brake off. Flaps can go up, and this is already in transponder. Oh, this was supposed to be in TA only. My mistake. This during flight was supposed to be in TA only, and then now we take it to standby. Let's ask GSX. We go to ramp. Show me this spot and activate. We are going to figure out where this spot is. Okay, so parking brake released. Thrust, only the left engine is working. You need quite a lot of thrust to get this airplane moving, single engine, from this position. Overheat detection was not supposed to be there. Let's stop here for a while. So master caution, overheat detection. We have something else. APU detect inoperative. Okay, so if we have an APU fire, we are not going to have this indication. So the checklist before we continue: APU detection inoperative, APU fire detection is inoperative, APU switch off. Caution, do not run the APU. APU fire would be not detected and the APU would continue to run. Okay, so now another thing to consider: if we stop here and we take the APU down, we cannot even taxi this airplane. Okay, as we have fire brigade around already, this is a very, very different case, because the firefighters, they are around. So I'm going to talk to them and tell them, guys, we lost APU fire detection. So if you see any sort of smoke or fire, especially on our tail cone, let me know. Okay, I'm going to do a really quick taxi here to the first position that we can find, and we are going to stop and ask our ground crew to bring this ground power so we can disconnect this airplane. Parking echo ramp, maybe. Okay, we have a parking position here on the right side. Okay, we go there. Okay, guys, I know the procedure says to turn the APU off, but as I have the fire brigade with me, and there will be no other option to continue this taxi apart from this. Of course, if there was no fire brigade, nobody around me, I would shut down the engine, and then they bring the stairs, they bring everything for the passengers at the current position. But to finish this flight, and because we have the fire brigade around, I think we can, if we run like this, the procedure. Okay, so taxi lights off. Okay, let me see how is this parking position. Straight ahead here. Okay, this is the parking position. Let's see. I'm going to take the airplane somewhere here to the right. Okay, I got it. I am broadcasting from Manila, capital of Philippines. Where I'm supposed to park? It's good enough, right? There we go. Most probably would be in the middle of all the trucks and ground baggage, just following the marshal rules. Okay, we can shut down this engine. We can shut down the APU switch off as it was mentioned. And then we need our ground crew to bring a GPU card. So we have stairs. Once we have a GPU on, we don't need fuel pumps. It was quite easy our flight today because we had the fuel on the center tank. Seatbelt switch can go off. Electric hydraulic pumps, they go off. APU we don't have. So packs, they go off as we do not have anything for the packs now. Anti-collision light off. Flight directors, they go off. Transponder 2000 and transponder. And we can ask the boarding. Okay, so that's it. That is for our flight. Yeah, I park in the middle of nowhere. Just following 8 marshal instructions, but it was fine. Okay, so at least they are using the rear door. Good catch. Guys, let's see what we had on this flight. So first we go to menu, Pmdg setup, aircraft failures. There are 13 active failures for this flight. Let's see what are them. So we have a generator 2 fail because of a generator 2 drive disconnect. We have engine 2 oil leak. Then because of this we had engine 2 oil temperature. We also had APU fire detector at the end. Cargo bottle squib 4. Cargo bottle squib aft. Cargo bottle squib main. This is all related to the cargo fire and the bottles that we use. Cargo bottle 1 was discharged. Cargo bottle 2 was discharged. Standby hydraulic pump failure. That's something that we will not notice because this is the standby hydraulic pump that only works in case we take the flight controls to standby rudder here. Okay, so this we will not notice. Hydraulics, EDP2 hydraulic leak. That's why we had this hydraulic low pressure during the landing rollout. Not a big issue because we will not have the reverser for this engine, most probably. Because of the high demand, the electrical pump most probably will not be enough to drive the reverse, but we were not using the reverse on that side anyway. Because of single engine, we only had the left engine, engine number 1. Weather return right fails, so the weather radar on the right side was not working. It doesn't work in Pmdg anyway. And ice protection, left side window heat. I didn't see that. Here we go. Left side window heat is off. Something that we would have to consider as well, but this happened after landing. So if we go, we have flight controls. For flight controls, yaw damper and low pressure. Fuel is because we turned the fuel pumps off. Electrical, now both drive, they are illuminated because engines are off. Overheat detection, that's because of the APU detect inoperative. Also on the other side we have anti-ice, is because we turn the probe heats to off. Hydraulic, we turn them off, so they would be off anyway, but we had a problem on the second one. Doors, yes, we have some doors open. And on the overhead is the flight recorder that is off. Makes sense because the engines are not running anymore. To complete the procedure for this flight, inertial to off. Let's say passengers are out. Emergency exit lights off. Window heat, we take them off. Why? Yep, off. Packs, they are already off. Not much we can do here. Just waiting the last passengers to the plane. They are coming out safe, I think. I think they are safe. So guys, let's go and review what we have for this flight. The first thing that we had actually was related to electrical. Electrical is number 6. So we had the drive. Okay. So we did the checklist, we disconnect the right generator, and we turn on the APU. Then we discussed about APU, fuel burn for the APU, and we also discussed the maintenance for this drive. Then we had low oil quantity. Low oil quantity alone is not a problem. We continue the flight. Then we had cargo fire aft. So fire protection, and we have cargo fire. So we have actually the aft. We had this one. So we discharge the extinguisher into the aft cargo compartment. And then we were in flight. We continue doing recirculation fans to off, pack switches to high, plan to land at near suitable airport. That was the time that another problem for the engine triggered, which was engine high oil temperature. Engine high oil temperature initially start in the amber band. The auto throttle we disengage, thrust lever retard to idle. It was already idle actually because we were descending at this point, but then it went to the red line, and then we proceed with the engine failure shutdown checklist page. Okay, then for the engine failure shutdown, do the shutdown only when flight conditions allow. We were already descending, so we were not using engine thrust anyway, so auto throttle we disengaged. It was already off actually this time. Thrust lever engine we confirm and we put it in idle. It was already idle. When the engine is in idle, it was in idle at that time. Engine start lever, which was the right one, number 2, confirm and cut off. And then this checklist asks you to take the packs to off. So the previous checklist both to high, and now this checklist take the right one to off. This calls the operating pack to regulate to high flow in flight with the flaps up, but they were high anyway because we selected. But we don't want one bleed system giving air supply to both packs in high. That's why we turn one off. APU was already on, so we didn't have to do this for the APU because the APU was available and it was already on. Balance fuel as needed was not the case because we still had fuel in the center tank. Transponder mode selector, we took it to standby by mistake. It's TARA. This prevents climb commands which can exceed single engine performance capability. Oh, we also had TCAS, TARA, so I had to maneuver to avoid the traffic at flight level 380 was quite marginal. Isolation valve switch we verified it was in auto. This ensures bleed air is available to both wings if we need wing anti-ice. There was no case, no anti-ice needed for today. And then it says a restart may be attempted if there is N1 rotation and no abnormal airframe vibration. In this case we didn't want to restart the engine because we didn't want we had low oil. Okay, so a restart will be attempt. No, a restart will not be attempt. So step 13, which says plan to land at near suitable airport. Do not use FMC fuel predictions. You go to the one engine operative landing checklist. We did. We went there. So we planned a flaps 15 landing. There was no ice, so we set VREF to 15. We checked the non-normal configuration landing distance, and we maintain VREF 15 and a minimum of 5 knots. There was no strong winds today. No engine anti-ice is needed. And then we had the descent checklist where we select the new landing altitude to Zagreb. We made a recall. At that time was only the electrical problem. Auto brake, we elected to go brake 3 and landing data VREF 15 and the minimums of 548. Approach briefing was complete. We were going to land, stop on the runway, make sure we had everything done, including checking for the cargo fire or any smoke or fumes coming from the cargo compartment. Additional go-around thrust. Additional go-around thrust was not needed, so we go to the go-around procedure review. So for go-around, it's flaps 1. okay, and we accelerate to flaps 1 maneuver speed before flap retraction. Then we were already descending. We could do the approach checklist. Altimeter were 1018. There is another item, ground proximity flap inhibit switch to flap inhibit. This is for us not to have the airplane calling too low flaps during our approach with flaps 15, and then we did the landing checklist. Okay, we also had an engine generator problem on the right engine, and that's something that I want to talk to you right now. So it was electrical, and in our case was the source off. Okay, so we had source off. It says the transfer bus is not powered by the last selected source, and then choose one. Both sources of light are illuminated. It was not the case. Only one source of light is illuminated. Then if you go to step 2, it asks you to take the affected side to on. Okay, as I was on final, I did not have time to complete this checklist, and with all the issues that we had, there was a high probability that this generator was faulty anyway. So I assumed that we were not going to consider taking this generator on, so the source off stays illuminated. And then we go to step 4, which says APU is available for start. Yes, it was already started. And then the procedure that I did on final to re-engage autopilot and everything else was to take the APU generator switch on the affected side to on. Okay, and then the source of light extinguishes. It says you continue normal operation, but this checklist does not cover for multiple failures. So this was one failure on the left side, and we already had the other failure. We already had the drive on the right side. So basically, we had to comply with this. Plan to land at the nearest suitable airport. Only one main AC power source remains. Okay, even though the checklist didn't bring us to here, it's because the checklist considered that the APU and the other engine generator was running on both cases, and this is not true. Okay, so in both cases we lost each time one generator, and then we only had APU. And once again, if you only have one AC main power source, you have to plan to land at the nearest suitable airport. Even if you don't understand this by the checklist, the Boeing procedure says on non-normal checklist that there are some situations where the flight crew must land at the nearest suitable airport. This situation include and only one AC power source remains, which is the engine or APU generator. So in our case, we only had the APU. Both engine generators, they were off because the checklist cannot combine both failures. Okay, otherwise they will have to create thousands of checklists, this plus this one plus this one. So in that case, is the crew, is the captain responsibility to deal with it and continue the flight or not. In this case, land at a near suitable airport we were doing anyway because of the cargo fire, and we even lost one engine during this diversion because of cargo fire. So we had to land anyway because of the cargo fire, because of the single engine, and because of the single AC power source. Okay guys, I hope you like this video, and I'm really tired. I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.